Hi guys, welcome back to the Botalks with Big Jim podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode number 7 of Botalks with Big Jim. Today we have our special guest again. He's back from Arizona, Mr. Izzy Diaz. Today we discuss something that has definitely changed the atmosphere and the overall perspective and the way that they operate police today. We talk about 44 minutes that changed policing forever. 2 robbers versus 300 police officers and deputies from over 5 different agencies in LA County. Over 1,600 rounds of ammunition were fired, 1,100 of which were fired from the 2 robbers themselves. The death toll, only 2. Today, Bo talks with Big Jim and special guest Izzy Diaz about the North Hollywood Shootout. So get ready, kick up your feet, put all this coronavirus to the back of your mind, and let's get ready for some good podcasting. By the way, it's Corona time. Let's get started, baby. Also, real quick, just so everybody knows, there is no sponsor at the beginning of this episode. However, you will hear a sponsorship ad in the middle. So, just so you know, heads up. All right, there we go. Well, welcome back, gentlemen.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for having me back on, dude. The last podcast we were on, it was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
I know it's been a while since the last time you. I don't know how long it's been since you posted that last one as opposed to this one, but yeah, man, it was definitely something, a history about California that I don't know. Obviously, I'm from Arizona, so some of the stuff that you guys were talking about, you guys can really relate to a lot of the area, and it was just interesting because Jim was always been my tour guide when I go out there.
But do you know what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the North Hollywood
apparently
Shootout.
I didn't get the memo.
North Hollywood Shootout.
Yeah, North Hollywood Shootout.
Woo!
You remember that?
Bro, I
do.
remember I was upstairs in my apartment, and that was all going down, and I'm just like, this can't be real. I thought to myself, dude, this reminds me of that movie Heat.
Yes.
And that's part of the controversy about this thing. Yeah. I've got the conspiracists or the state of, or the county of LA County thought that these 2 guys just watched that movie, and that's where they got the idea of how they armed themselves and prepared themselves to go into any sort of incident like they did. They basically tried to blame the movie Heat for this.
Oh,
the legislation in LA. Yeah, it's weird, but go ahead.
Yeah.
He was 1 year old when this happened, so it was in '97. And I was at home too.
I was 6.
And I was watching it thinking, 96? Oh, I'm thinking your brother. I'm sorry. Yes, you were 6. Sorry. I keep forget.
You have 3 of us. There's 3. There's 3. You have 3 children. Dude.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So
Joaquin was one.
These are the 2 gentlemen that we're going to be talking about. These are the 2 gentlemen who started the North Hollywood Shootout. They are labeled as men, but according to the police, they were referred to as demons. This is Larry Phillips Jr. from Russia and Emil Mâtâsâreanu from Ukraine. These 2 actually met in early 1992. They met actually over in Venice, California, about 30 minutes from downtown Los Angeles. They met, and when they met, they found out that they actually had pretty common interests. Guns being one, a major one, fraud, and stealing, which I guess would be the same. Both actually ran fraudulent businesses From what I understand, Larry Phillips had a fraudulent real estate company, and
Correct.
Emil Mâtâsâreanu had a fraudulent pest control business, I believe.
Right.
I think that's what they said. Shortly after
Well,
the two,
Larry Phillips,
yeah.
not decided. His dad was a bank robber. So Larry
did not know
Phillips is actually an alias. Was an alias. Him and his dad and his mom were actually, they relocated themselves from Colorado. They were already on the run. He was
Oh.
running into, yeah.
I did not know that.
The white guy, the first guy. It's
Well,
not
that-
even his real name, Larry Phillips Jr. His dad is Larry Phillips. So when they actually caught up to him, his name, they basically named his son Larry Phillips Jr. But he already came back from bank robbery background.
I did not know that at all. None of that
Yeah.
popped up when I watched a couple of the YouTube shows and other podcasts.
Oh no,
That's pretty interesting.
Back then. Yeah, this was from back then. You gotta realize we had to read newspapers back then. We didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
We had to pick up a paper, and when they made a lot of periodicals. Made a lot of people were stuck to this. You gotta remember, this is the 90s, and I don't want to sidetrack, but this is what happened in the 90s, and I'll start at the beginning. Gulf War, Ruby Ridge, Jeffrey Dahmer,
Mm-hmm.
Timothy McVeigh, Oklahoma bombing,
Oh yeah.
Unabomber,
Waco,
Tomine, Tupac's death,
Waco,
Selena's
Texas.
death,
Yeah,
Waco, Texas,
Yep.
which would that actually went right in behind Ruby Ridge, and what else? Oh, and then this one, North Hollywood. Those are the biggest. But that all happened within 8 years.
Oh, don't forget about Rodney King, brother.
All that, I hate to put it. That's correct. That was in 89, 98. I keep saying 89. I'm sorry. I do mean in the 90s. But yes, you're absolutely right. That was another
Rodney King
issue
in
that we
98?
had.
I don't think Rodney King was Rodney 8. I think that was 92.
No. It was not. No, when I'm referring, and whenever I say anything in the 80s, I mean the 90s. I'm getting tongue twisted on my own because when you brought this subject up, dude, you brought so many things that happened in the 90s that I can and I hate to say that, I hate to call it pop culture, but the direction we're taking with this podcasting, they're unfortunately pop culture now.
Yeah.
Every one of those subjects is monetized. Everybody's making movies, books, podcasts, documentaries. And that was our genre, Izzy. You're 2 years younger than I am, right? Yeah.
Hey.
That was our genre.
He's 24, you're 22. It's good.
Anyway, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, a lot of that happened. When you brought this up, I just had a flood of deja vus of all. Oh, the other one was O.J. Simpson. That was the big one.
Oh, yeah. O.J.
O.J. Simpson happened.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, a lot of stuff happened.
Must have quit. Glove don't fit.
Don't quit.
A lot of stuff happened, and it is crazy that this even occurred. Which, ironically, this could have been stopped 4 years prior. 4 years.
Yeah,
it could have been stopped.
Yeah.
In 1993, after a career of bank robbing, as you mentioned in Colorado, the two, Larry Phillips and Mâtâsâreanu, actually went to Colorado and committed a few bank robberies there. A few months later, they came back to California, and they were found with not one. The only reason why they got pulled over to begin with, they were speeding.
Right.
They get pulled over. They get asked names. They don't have paperwork. They don't have driver's license. So the officer pulls them out for the routine check. What the officers, there's two of them, then find are the following inside of their car: 4 Chinese-made AK-47s, 2 Beretta handguns, 9mm, a number of smoke grenades, radio scanners, and hundreds upon hundreds of ammunition for all weapons.
Wow.
They were arrested.
Yeah.
However, they took a plea deal and only served 4 months in jail, not prison. Jail and prison are two different things. Jail is you come in, you take a time out, and you go back out to play. Prison is you get stuck here for life.
Yeah.
So for a little while, the two took about a year off, didn't see each other, and wanted to let everything cool down. Then, in 1996, I'm jumping ahead. 1996, the two graduated from robbing armored vehicles, which is what they initially started on. And then when they went to Colorado is when they robbed their first bank. So they graduated from armed cars to now robbing banks. And then 1 year later, in 1997, is when everything took off.
Man.
February.
They had actually committed a few robberies before this one.
Multiple,
before
yeah.
North Hollywood.
Yeah, they were doing.
That's how they funded to get all their firearms.
Yeah, they were able to rob armored vehicles.
So the guns that they confiscated from them, though, you said that they got pulled over for speeding, and they had their weapons
inside of the vehicle.
So what did they do with those weapons?
Took them in. But what they did was they plead insanity.
That's how they got off?
That's how they got off.
What?
And they only served 4 months. It was a plea deal. They took it. 4 months done.
Wow.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was like, how were they able to get firearms back? How were they able to get their
robbing? They already had fraudulent businesses, so they're making money. And slowly but surely, once you start building that fraudulent business up, you get more and more money, especially real estate.
No, what he said was, how did they get the firearm? There wasn't. I remember when I bought the 22 that I bought, and it was
laws
in the 90s. Then? I only had a 5-day background check. I went, and they had semi-automatic. The place that was here was called Traders Sporting Goods, which later they did get arrested. They did get in trouble, and they're no longer in business because they were actually selling large quantities illegal firearms to people. But back to what I was saying, you only had a 5-day wait period, and you only had to be 18 years old to buy a firearm.
Yeah,
that's California.
Yeah, the laws are
now. We have some of
that's crazy.
Much different. Much different.
Yeah. They actually had those. They had Uzis on the wall that you could buy, the pistol type and the gun type. So the pistol, like the Chuck Norris ones.
Yeah.
From Invasion USA. Remember that movie? He had the 2 little Uzi pistol. That was his gig. Those were actually, you could buy those right off the Israeli-made ones right off the shelf.
Those were semi-autos, though, right? They were still semi-automatic.
Yeah.
Like 9mm pistols.
That's correct.
Or whatever.
Correct. But there was no clip restriction. You could actually buy a banana clip and all that. They had all that stuff on the table. Like if you go to a gun show in Arizona, Crossroads of the West, you can see that 100-round banana clip or that double barrel.
We've seen one.
That double drum.
Yeah. We've seen them going to gun shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all that stuff, and you're right. Why they got in trouble was modifying fully automatic. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But yeah, this is what ultimately changed not only policing, but changed a lot of laws of getting weapons, how people get weapons. It changed a lot, and as much controversy as the Second Amendment is, and weapons in general. This is what led to all of that. It was February 28th, 1997, at approximately 9:17 in the morning. Before exiting their vehicle, both Phillips and Mâtâsâreanu took a phenobarbital a muscle relaxant to calm their nerves.
Phenobarbital.
That's the one, phenobarbital. Thank you. They took that muscle relaxant.
It's like today's Xanax or Seroquel. It's a nerve relaxer. Sorry, I know that, but I have.
Oh, it's good. But yes,
Seroquel, huh?
Go ahead.
But that is what they took before.
Well, Seroquel is a anxiety medication. Phenobarbital back then was a nerve depressant. It's still a barbiturate, or what they call the benzo, whatever. I can't.
Is it addictive?
But it's a drug. Yeah, like Xanax.
Wow.
Yep.
This was in liquid form, though.
Mm-hmm.
You can either drink it or shoot it.
So they took two doses of it to calm their nerves before going in. The two men, a week prior, did a recon mission, so to speak, to scope out the North Hollywood branch of the Bank of America. On this day, they walked in, firing their guns into the ceiling and demanding money. Two officers patrolling that area called a 211, which was in police lingo, a robbery in progress with shots fired. Dressed in full tactical gear, weighing about 40 to 50 pounds each person. By the way, these are not small guys. These are pretty built dudes.
No, they were big dudes.
Yeah.
They were actually amateur bodybuilders.
Yeah. So on top of them, already
they
being
met at
big,
Gold's Gym on Venice Beach.
Yep. So
What on Venice Beach?
Gold's Gym.
You ever been to Venice Beach?
Oh,
They used to call it Muscle Beach. It's actually still called Muscle Beach, but
that's where
Gold's Gym
that's
is
where Arnold
Schwarzenegger made it famous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Made it famous back in the 70s and 80s. But that's where they met because they both wanted to be bodybuilders.
Yeah. So these are big dudes. They were tall. They were wide. These were big dudes. So on top of them being probably anywhere between, I'd say 250, maybe 225 to 250, they add an additional 40 to 50 pounds of tactical gear on top of them. So now they're pushing close to, almost 300 pounds a person.
300 pounds.
They wore the following: ski masks, type A3 bulletproof vests made to stop smaller rounds, such as a .38 revolver or a 9mm pistol. They wore groin guards to protect the boys. They also wore loaded bearing vests with extra ammo storage. So basically, if you were watching
Call of Duty.
it's exactly what it is. Exactly. All the ammo that they got on their chest and all the other packs, that's exactly what they wore. And they had anywhere between 50 to 70 round magazine clips on them, and then more ammo in their car, more ammo in their bags. These guys were fully loaded and ready to go. Hey everybody, just as a friendly reminder, please be sure to check out the Anchor app. The Anchor app is totally free. It's how you can create a podcast. As a matter of fact, that's how I'm creating my podcast. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. And the cool thing about Anchor is that it'll distribute your podcast for you. So it can be heard everywhere, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, and hundreds of more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one little place. It's real simple, kind of drag and drop little things. You can edit your audio. You could do sponsorships. Hey, like how I'm doing right now. Look at that. So, if you're interested in making your own podcast, please be sure to download the Anchor app on the Google Play Store or on the App Store. And if those don't work for you, then I suggest you go over to anchor.fm and get started on your podcast today. Please continue what you were saying, Jim. Multiple layers of homemade body armor.
They were busted with upwards up to 4,000 bullets.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Multiple layers of homemade body armor and spare vest parts. They took parts from other vests that were a little lower grade, and then started covering up areas of their body that weren't covered. So, for instance, they would start covering up their arms. Their one of them, which was Phillips, covered his legs. Mâtâsâreanu was the only one that wore the upper half of the body armors. Mâtâsâreanu was the only one actually who wore a Type A3 bulletproof vest, but instead he modified it and put a metal trauma plate from protecting his vital organs.
Wow.
So these guys weren't
So
dumb
he
either.
was- yeah.
So he stuffed a plate in between himself and his vest, and then on top of that was able to hold, all of this. Like I said, this weighed a lot, and they're able to walk around with all of this. Now the two were they scoped out the place, and what they projected to make was about 750,000 to 1.5 million that day. But unfortunately for them, the bank did not get their deposits that day. So what they had in the vault was only 350,000. With that being said,
Full of die packs.
full of die pads.
Full of die. I remember that a lot of the die packs went off. Yeah.
Oh,
I remember
really?
that.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
a lot of that money was the die pack packets.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember
It almost looked like blood. Most of the money
it
bundles,
was red. Yeah.
it was all red. So it looked
Yeah.
like blood, but
Yeah.
it was just dye. But yeah, so they went in expecting to make a huge chunk of change and get ready for the next thing. Instead, they get, to them, pennies. So they get pissed off and they start firing randomly. They're not hitting people, but they're just firing randomly, specifically Phillips, who was pissed off. By then, they estimated that it would take anywhere up to 8 minutes for LAPD to arrive to a bank robbery scene. Again, that, as you mentioned, the 90s had a number of things going on. Specifically in LA, the FBI and LAPD called LA the bank robbing capital of the U.S. because they had over 80 bank robberies in 1 year.
Where was this?
L.A., Los Angeles,
Really?
Los Angeles,
Los Angeles had 80 robberies?
in 1 year.
Bank robberies in 1 year.
And that's just 1 year in the 90s. That's not even including everything else. Now, a few minutes later, and again, they estimated on their watches that it would take them 8 minutes to arrive to a bank robbery scene. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but 8 minutes is a long time to think that it's going to take someone to get to there, especially with two cops already outside calling that there's a bank robbery in progress.
Especially if there's over.
What do you mean 8 minutes? 8 minutes it takes from the dispatch to the patrol, or patrol getting to the site?
Patrol getting to the site.
So from the initial call of a 211
Yeah,
dispatch to dispatch cops to the location should have only taken 8 minutes.
that's what they speculated. Instead,
Oh, okay.
cops were there in under 4 minutes. So by the time they
Wow.
came out, because when the two cops who were patrolling the area, one, they saw two guys wearing full tactical gear and big ass machine guns. So they already know, okay, that's going to be a 211. And then, as I mentioned before, when they walk in, they fire into the ceiling.
Yeah.
211, shots fired. That's a code 3 emergency call. People are going to be over there, and I'm surprised they even got there in 4.
Wow.
Then at 9:24 a.m., both men exit the north and south entries of the bank to kind of create a diversion as far as the people inside. Because again, they think 8 minutes, they're not going to be here in enough time. We go separate ways. I'll walk around the building. You come pick me up. We take off. That's it. But as I said, it took LAPD less than 4 minutes to show up. The pair then find multiple police vehicles surrounding the building, and without hesitation, Phillips opens fires.
Open fire on who?
The
People
police,
inside?
the police
Oh,
officers.
out. He was outside.
Yeah, they already exited the
Okay.
building, the north and south ends.
Okay.
He sees multiple police officers and without question just starts firing.
Yeah.
Now, this is the meat and potatoes of their guns now. Because again, don't forget, they had 4 Chinese-made AK-47s. They had smoke grenades. They had radio scanners when they first got caught in 93. Now, the two were armed with Beretta 9mm, HK-91 rifles, Bushmaster XM-15 rifles, and the, again, Chinese-made AK-47. Now, all of these were modified to make every last one of these into fully automatic weapons.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them. Are you familiar with them, Izzy?
As far as the types of weapons,
Yeah, the HK, whatever. I know the 9mm and
yeah, the Heckler,
AK-47, but I don't know
Basically,
the other one.
basically what they look
that
like. The
Bushmaster is probably similar to like what everybody kind of references like an Armalite or the AR-15.
yes,
Ah.
it's actually similar to the M16, what is used in the military now.
Yeah, and then the other one isn't that a Japanese?
The
It's like a Japanese version of an AK-47. It's not
the
quite
HK
AK.
HK-91.
Yeah, that's like a Japanese version because the AK was made from Russia, I thought.
China.
China, and then Israel. I mean,
The AK, the original AK?
is a Iranian made, ain't it?
I believe so. No.
Mm-mm. I'm pretty sure it was made in it's a Russian. The original designer was from Russia, but then it was like
That's the Kalashnikov.
stolen.
The
Yeah.
Kalashnikov is, yeah. I remember that name.
That's like the sniper rifle.
It can be used as a sniper rifle.
So that's what they were armed. That's what they were armed
Okay,
with.
yeah.
Crazy.
Kalashnikov.
And again, these were all, except for the handguns, were all modified to make them fully automatic weapons. The ones, however, that were not only fully automatic, but had 200-barrel drum rounds were the AK-47s. They had 6 of those.
100
So
round. You said 100 barrel.
Round barrels.
100-round drums. I'm thinking like a barrel, like a whiskey barrel.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yes, they had drum magazines of 100 rounds each, 6 of them per person.
That's got to be heavy, dude.
That's what I said. They got ammo it's not just the ammo that they're holding, it's their body armor.
Yeah, and they're just the guns themselves.
So these guys were slow moving, but they laid it down. I can tell you that right now. And this is why it changed so much policing nowadays, because back then in the 90s, the LAPD were armed with 9mm Berettas, a .38 caliber revolver, 2 of the weapons that are already out of question of taking the guys out.
Right.
12 gauge shotguns, and then later, really only for the SWAT teams, was the Colt model AR 672, which is very similar to the AR-15 now.
Mm.
But unlike today's police forces, which is now again militarized, they have Glock 22s, Glock 45s, Glock 40s, Glock 22. They have they have a wide range to carry with them now in case incidents like this were to ever happen again. They even carry Remington 870 pump-action shotguns, as well as a Colt M4 carbine semi-automatic machine gun, or if they want to get real aggressive when handling a situation, they have what's called something on the side called a happy switch, which then makes their weapons fully automatic also.
Wow.
Really?
Oh yeah.
built into their firearm right now?
Yeah. They're the trainer at my job before he retired and moved to the Midwest. He worked for a sheriff's department over on the coast, and he was like, yeah, we used to have he called them happy switches. I was like, happy switches? He's like, yeah, you click it one and then you just let it go.
Well, isn't that like military? They have a little knob. It says full auto, semi-auto, and then single fire. Is that what that is?
Yeah, there's single, burst, and then full. But they call they call them happy switches.
Oh wow! All right.
As calls go over the radios for more backup, the gunmen now start seeing news crews, and this is where everyone else starts getting involved. You guys seeing it on the news at your apartment. Dad, I don't know where we were in the late 90s, but in the apartment watching it too, probably. And again, without question, Phillips Mâtâsâreanu points his weapon up at the sky and starts firing at not only news crews covering what's happening, but as well as the LAPD and sheriff's helicopters.
Did he hit him?
They were getting hit. They didn't go down, but they were getting hit. They got hit.
Oh, he did hit them.
A few of them got hit, but they didn't go down. They were being shot at. There's video of it on YouTube, and they look up and they just start firing.
Man.
It's crazy. It is really, really crazy. And then, again, these guys were not armed or even nearly ready for anything like this. So thank God for rednecks, because Dad, like you said, you went to a spot and you got your background check, and they had fully automatic Uzis and everything else there. Well, these cops run into a local gun store called B&B Guns, and without question, the clerks just start handing over M16s and everything else to match with what the shooters had.
Firepower.
Yeah.
Did they ever use them? I wonder if they ever fired off those rounds.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I just remember when I don't even remember seeing SWAT till after the dude was down.
Side note.
The SWAT team, or Special Weapons and Tactics Force, are highly trained paramilitary officers who assist local law enforcement in situations they are not equipped to handle, such as counterterrorism measures, hostage situations, and active shooters.
So the regular patrol officers got the guy's name is Emil, the Russian guy. They got him down. SWAT. I don't think SWAT even showed up till it was already over, right?
Those guys were SWAT. The ones that actually showed up, they intercepted the call and showed up in that police vehicle, popped out, and that's when they came in. They had that quick firefight right in the middle of the road.
LAPD knocked him down. It wasn't the
LAPD shot
SWAT,
at them for over 20 minutes. That's how long it took before SWAT got there.
Yeah, SWAT was the one that actually took him down, but LAPD was popping off on him, and that's when they kind of realized that these guys, they're not going down, and those guys ended up taking down a lot of. I just know that there was a couple of people that were hit pretty bad, and that one dude walked off. They like split up or something. Yeah. Again, this is all stuff I just remember. Like I'm vaguely remembering this stuff when I seen it, and it was like a helicopter shot of these guys walking around, popping off. And I remember thinking, dude, this is just like that movie Heat. Oh my God. I was like tripping. And these guys, they were just blasting everything. And then what got real crazy, what reminded me more so of that, was when that dude he didn't necessarily get cornered, but he got stopped in front of the truck when he was trying to carjack a truck.
Hold on.
Oh, we're getting to that? Okay.
Oh, we're getting there. So like I said, it took 20 minutes for SWAT to actually get there. And as I mentioned, SWAT were the only ones capable of handling situations like this. They were the ones who had carbines. They had semi-automatic, fully automatic rifles. They had tactical gear ready to go, just like these guys did. So they were able to go head to head. In a matter of 10 minutes, over 24 people were shot. 20 people, or 24 people were shot in 10 minutes.
Oh, they did hit pedestrians?
That's
know
including
they killed.
police and civilians.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought it was just the 2 cops they hit.
No.
2 cops and then the one lady who was stuck behind the cop car. I remember that lady.
Yeah, 24 people. That's including cops. That's
Wow,
also including civilians. Now, during the gunfight, the 2 gunmen, whoops, move that. The 2 gunmen were now able to get to their car after firing rounds at police. Mâtâsâreanu was going to be the getaway driver, and Phillips was going to be his protection. So as Mâtâsâreanu got into the car and started to drive off, Phillips was outside laying cover for him, still shooting. And then Izzy, this is when they split. And as you mentioned before, at 9:53 a.m. So again, this is now almost 10 minutes exactly where that's a slow walk and shooting before splitting. I can only imagine how many rounds were fired.
I'm trying to envision it. I remember him splitting off. The white car was coming down the driveway, and then the one guy went toward that. There was a semi-truck, if I'm not correct.
Mm-hmm.
There was a semi-truck in the trailer. He kind of went behind the trailer, and then they followed him. You're talking about the guy.
Phillips.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Well, the only reason why they split to begin with was because Phillips gun jammed his AK-47 with the drum magazines. It jammed, so he went from his AK to now his Japanese AK, the HK-19, and started to fire. At 9:53, while on foot, Phillips takes cover near a big rig truck about 15 to 20 yards from the bank parking lot. So this is where they start getting into the residential neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Again, his gun jams. Yeah. He throws that gun down, pulls out his Beretta, and starts firing at police that he sees coming from the I believe it was the north end of where he was standing. Starts firing at them, and he realizes that he can't go anywhere from here. So then he places his 9mm pistol underneath his chin and pulls the trigger, committing suicide rather than being taken in.
Now, if you don't mind me interjecting,
I remember that.
I do remember this. I remember they actually shot his hand.
Yes.
He was pointing. I remember he was pointing the gun out and shooting in that direction, and somebody shot his hand, and it like fell down. And I remember the reason I remember this because the cop, the news showed it on live TV.
Oh yeah. This is the peak of live television too.
Yeah, there was no censoring. So I remember the dude. Something flicked out of his hand, which I'm thinking now, if I'm not mistaken, they shot his hand, which shot the gun, or this gun somehow came out of his hand. He reached down to pick up the gun and to go and try to rechamber another round, and he couldn't because his hand was all mangled from the bullet hitting. And I think either he did or he didn't. Somehow he did chamber a round or whatever, and then realized his situation, and then they showed it on live TV for everyone to see him.
Oh yeah,
shooting himself.
I found some, which I'm not posting on online. They're already online if people want to go see them. But they show the crime scene photos. That 9mm did some serious damage.
Man. Well, don't forget, I don't know if you remember seeing this part, Izzy, when he shot himself and he fell.
They kept shooting.
Right. There was a cop. Okay, you said he had the helmet and he had that extra chest plate. Well, one of the cops, I don't know if it was a lucky shot or what, but it was with a handgun, shot at him and shot him in the neck. That's how they severed his spine. Because when he dropped, he was dead. But one of the cops in front of him shot at him and just hit right in between the chest plate and the mask or the hood he was wearing. Went through his neck and severed his spine.
Really?
That was a lucky shot. Yeah, you can actually see it. I remember seeing the dust come up. Right when you said when he shot and he fell sideways the way he fell, he fell exposed like this. And I remember seeing a piece of dust come up. I didn't think it was a bullet at the time. till way after. And that's when they said, yeah, he did get shot in the hand, like you said. I remember that. And I thought he got shot in the neck. I thought that's what killed him initially. I forgot that he committed suicide until we were talking about it the other day. That's when they were showing it live. Yeah, no censorship.
None. That's the crazy part. And what's crazy too is if you go on YouTube, they still show what they have. I was watching a few things, and I saw the whole thing. The dude, you see him put it here, and just boom, you see a whole red dust cloud. I was like, whoa.
Or spatter? You saw the spatter?
Oh yeah, you saw it all.
Yeah, because they did play that scene on repeat throughout the daily news. They still showed him shooting himself throughout the day on news. I remember that too, because I thought, I was like, man, that's kind of hardcore for traffic news at 3:00.
Right?
Yeah.
But then again,
that's when I saw. I didn't see it live. I saw the recording. I saw the whole recording. I didn't see it live. I was at work.
But I don't think news had censorship like that until probably after the 9/11 attacks, because they showed that too. They showed people dead. They showed people bleeding. They showed a lot of different stuff.
On what, 9/11?
9/11
in 2002?
Yeah, 2001.
So when did they start having a delay?
I think they started having delays shortly after that. Because, and this is kind of going off topic for a second, but because if you remember, there was one anchor on there who reported that Tower 7 had gotten hit and fell, and as she's reporting it, Tower 7 starts to fall behind her.
What do you mean? Like it was she said it before it happened?
Correct. So, like I said, that's a whole another topic of conversation. That's a whole conspiracy theory thing. But
I was going to say, Eddie Bravo, are you trying to take us down this other?
Hey, Building 6. If you've never seen it or heard about it, look into it. That's interesting.
The thermite. You're talking about the thermite on the girder beams, and
I don't know, man. Listen,
you only got so much time on this podcast.
I'm not an architect. So then, let's see.
I don't know that story. I'm gonna have to go look into it.
Look it up. Building 6.
Oh yeah. Whenever you get a chance, Jim, you gotta. We can roll on conspiracy theories on all that stuff, man. But just remember that just takes you down a rabbit hole.
That takes you. That's a big.
Like I have anything else to do.
That would take some time. I honestly wouldn't mind doing it, but yeah, that's at least a 3-hour conversation.
Woo.
5 minutes later, five minutes
after back to LA.
After Phillips kills himself, officers then start shooting at Mâtâsâreanu. Again, he was driving a white Chrysler at the time, and officers were able to shoot out the tires and as well as the engine. Mâtâsâreanu then attempts to steal a civilian truck, as you mentioned before, Izzy, or Dad, or both of you.
That's true.
And what he ends up doing is he sees this truck, pulls up front fender to front fender, fires his gun and then ends up hitting the driver of the pickup truck. He wounded him. Man. It was an old man. He wounded him, but didn't kill him. Yeah. But due to quick thinking, and I believe it was a manual truck at the time, which had a kill switch on it. So not only was he able to take his keys, but he also put in a kill switch. Now, if you have a manual truck, if you pop the clutch, you're able to go. Well, this guy wasn't able to do so because he used a kill switch and it completely killed the engine. So as he sat there trying to fumble with the engine or the ignition and trying to start the car, that's when SWAT pulled up in a patrol vehicle and started firing on him.
Okay, so I got a question. I don't know if you remember this or not. In the truck was a special needs girl. You remember that, Izzy?
Was there?
The old man was driving with his special needs daughter, and when the guy pulled up bumper to bumper and shot at him, she ducked. And
I
when
don't
she
remember
ducked,
seeing
she never
that.
came back up. So the old man, from what I can remember, the old man left, like you said, and he was trying to load up some firearms and rounds out of the trunk of the white car into the truck, but all that failed because he couldn't start the truck.
Yeah.
So inside there was still a lady or handicapped little girl or youngster in the truck when they were firing at each other.
I didn't
I don't know.
know
I never
that.
knew whatever happened to that girl.
I
No
didn't even know
kidding,
that
dude. I
was a
didn't even
thing.
know that. I didn't know there was.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know I remember specific details. That's what's crazy is like certain things stood out when this whole saga, transpired with
Yeah.
everything from the shootout to like the attire and the attire of what the police were wearing at the time. And I remember that guy leaving. I think I'm pretty sure I saw like that helicopter viewpoint of the man jumping out of the vehicle and just running off. But to leave a kid in the vehicle.
It was his. It was.
That was the
She was an
fight or
adult, but
flight.
she had special needs. Yeah, it was special needs.
His ass
I've
flew.
never. Yeah.
Bro, how do you
Well,
go
he
through
probably
life
thought she
and
was
knowing that
dead.
you left the kid behind? Like even if something did positive come out of it, like whether it be the mother, your father, like your relatives, how do you for that guy to take off and leave the child? I mean, I get it. There's the fight and flight, but I mean to know that you just inside the vehicle, knowing somebody's coming out there with an assault rifle. I mean, and he was fast enough to, if I remember, he was fast enough to where he outran. I mean, he booked it.
He
And
booked.
went
He was gone.
around and went into some yard or something. But if he truly left a
Yeah,
kid in the vehicle,
That's messed up.
Yeah. I'll look for that. Or Jim, you try looking at it. But he left his special needs daughter or special needs granddaughter in the front seat. And the only thing that saved her from the initial shot that he received is that she laid down on the front seat.
Jeez.
And like you said, the old man ran, and I don't know whatever happened to the handicapped girl. But it was there. It's in there. You can find it.
I will definitely look for
It
it. 'Cause
exists.
I didn't see that, but I will definitely look for it for sure.
Yeah.
Now, as I mentioned,
Jim,
four officers pulled up in a patrol SWAT car. Now these SWAT cars, these what were they called? The Crown Vics. They were not built like the cars today. The cars today, you got like carbon fiber seating. You got about this much space between you and the glass of the officer sitting in the front seat. It's not a comfortable position to be sitting in. So they were able to get 4 SWAT officers and 1 Crown Vic pull up, and then again another firefight ensues. Officers were striking Mâtâsâreanu multiple times in the chest, torso, and arms, but as I mentioned before, he modified all of his body armor, specifically in his chest and torso area, with a metal trauma plate. So every bullet, which already the Class A3 bulletproof vest was already preventing the 38 caliber revolvers from penetrating him. So they start hitting him with these rifle rounds, and they're doing damage. They are doing damage, but they're not fully penetrating. But as I mentioned before, as I mentioned before, he only had his torso and upper body covered. He didn't think to cover his lower half. So with quick thinking, the SWAT teams reverted to their training and started to do what was called skipping. One of the officers laid down prone on the ground and fired at a 45-degree angle, striking Mâtâsâreanu in his ankle. Seeing the effect, and obviously him being hit, he stumbles back. He does it 6 more times. Hits him in his ankles, drops him to his knee, hits him in his shins and calves, drops his other knee. His knees start being taken out, and he falls prone sideways. Still firing, by the way. Still shooting.
I remember that.
They hit him in his legs. If I'm not mistaken, Yeah, they hit him in his legs over 30 times.
God damn.
Just his legs. Officers were able to move in finally and secure Mâtâsâreanu's weapon. Now, if you know anything about the human body, and Dad, I know you would know this, but there is a major artery that runs in both of your legs leading straight to your heart.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And
Arterial artery.
Exactly. And because this is an active crime scene, you guess who's not coming in to save lives? Paramedics. So, with that being said, because the guy was still alive and it was an active crime scene, paramedics were not coming in to where Mâtâsâreanu was to provide medical care.
Let him bleed out.
They let him bleed out. And the whole time, like a crazy fucking Russian that this guy is, was talking shit the entire time. Oh,
I remember he said to shoot him in the head or something like that, right? Or shoot him.
Yeah, he was telling them to shoot him. He's like, come on, do it. You already shot me this many times.
Yeah.
What are you stopping for? So finally, at 10:01 a.m., after 44 minutes of gunfire and over 1,600 rounds from every weapon that was there, the LAPD finally gunned down and stopped the two North Hollywood bank robbers.
So he didn't die from them. Well, they obviously shot him. But Izzy, was that you that said they let him bled out?
Yep, they let him bleed out, and I remember the department had already had controversy for that. Well, actually, if I'm not mistaken, because remember how you were mentioning all the other incidents, and there were some things specific to LA.
Specific.
The riot.
Yeah,
there was the Rodney King riot.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was so much of that of the LAPD, because I remember there was rappers that were talking about the LAPD and there were a bunch of brutal Gestapos and whatnot. So there was a
oh man, that guy has a podcast now. The cop that who was the white supremacist, David. I'll think of the name, but yeah, I remember them going to court about that in Simi Valley. They were trying to convict the 4 officers of beating Rodney King, and then that's what started the riot because they got acquitted. Okay, yeah.
So I know that LA and a lot of the department was kind of like already in a bad limelight, and then this whole situation came about, and they from a political standpoint, LA was trying to kind of redeem that. Hey, look, we saved our citizens. We took out these bad robbers, and what do you call it? Against all odds, we were underpowered, but here we were, and we were able to, take these guys out. On the other half, so you mentioned that guy, how he bled out. People were protesting, and the fact that there goes LAPD.
It's not people who protested; it was his actual family. About a year later, tried to do a civil lawsuit because of how he was treated. They said that. What are you doing over there?
Yeah, I was trying to take a drink of my.
Shotgunning that thing that was the weirdest looking.
Oh no, I smashed it. But yeah, they're first responders. They're bound by law to attempt to save somebody. Am I correct?
Correct.
But they can't be in harm's way. So they use that so that guy could suffer. So they say.
I get that. I understand.
But you're right.
The lawsuit.
That was what it was. The lawsuit from the
family.
There was some kind of controversy with how they let him basically bleed out and die right there.
I mean, he was gonna. He would if none of the guns jammed, if everything would have went quote unquote smoothly, they would have kept firing. They didn't give a damn about no. He shot multiple civilians. He shot a guy with apparently a special needs girl in the truck. There was no empathy. There was no sympathy. There was none of that. They wanted to make money. They wanted to be these high class criminals. And even if the conspiracy is that they got all of this from heat, even Robert De Niro? Yeah, Robert De Niro. He makes off with a bunch of money before he ends up getting shot.
Yeah.
And Val Kilmer.
Yeah. No, he's the one. I think he was the only one that got away.
Was it Val?
Yeah, because Pacino killed De Niro.
What's that?
Oh yeah.
Pacino killed De Niro at the airport.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
Val Kilmer was the only one that kind of got away with. The wife just said she kind of like
He did that hand movement.
the hand gesture and freaking said,
Yeah,
"Move along," and that was the
yeah,
end of
that
the
was
movie.
wasn't that Ashley Judd?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look,
Dang, dude.
But
Wild
it
story,
looked like
right?
that.
Just mentioning that firefight, man, is just. I mean, just that time in that era, like there was so much going on.
But think about it for a second. Like I said, he walked for 10 minutes from the parking lot down the street. Everything in total,
He wanted to die. He knew he wasn't getting away.
but everything in total took 44 minutes, less than an hour. And there's over 1,600 rounds shot. There's over 24 people shot. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars stolen. All of this within 44 minutes. Can you imagine what every person? Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. The number of police force, or the police force number of how many officers, men and women that were there. Can you just guess the number?
40.
Over 30, 40 officers.
So you said 40, and you say 30? 352.
What?
What? That's the whole force.
352 officers.
Damn.
Just for that?
From what I read,
The aftermath.
From what I read, 352 officers were there shooting against two guys.
Yeah, that the one guy, Phillips, he knew he wasn't gonna get out of there. That's why he killed himself.
He just looked. He looked shady.
Once Izzy, if he got shot in his hand, like Izzy said, he knew he was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And forever changed the laws, or not the laws, because there was already a semi-automatic ban in California, but
Yeah, not just the laws. It just changed policing in general.
yeah,
Because, like I said,
was the Russian guy illegal? Was he immigrant? So he wasn't here legally, correct?
Right. Well, they I believe they both weren't here because one was from Russia, one was from the Ukraine. But it changed it completely, not just the laws and stuff, but policing in general. Like I mentioned, if you see a cop now, the way the stuff that they're carrying, especially if it's a SWAT officer, look like they are a part of the military. They got helmets, they got camo. A lot of the times, they got protective gear. They got all those bear vests for the extra magazines to carry. They got hip holsters. I'm sorry, not hip holsters, thigh holsters. They got a number of different things now, primarily because of this. Well, not just this, but
you're talking about the common police have these now, not just SWAT.
No, not just SWAT. The beat cops.
Yeah, motorcycle cops. I don't know about Arizona right now, but out here in Hayward, the motorcycle cops have their AR-15 strapped to the luggage on behind their Harleys.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. They're pointed downwards and they have straps.
Most officers, you have to, what do you call it? It's like certify yourself to carry specific weapons. I mean, you can sit. So they allow
you have to get certified with assault weapons now, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. You have to just like if you were certifying to shoot a gun, you have to certify to use assault rifle. But out here, the motorcycle cops have their AR-15s mounted on their luggage racks or their luggage bags.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they're called recs. Their requirements they call them recs to get certified for whatever kind of weapon, as far as a AR-15 or an M16.
Shotguns, ARs, and all those things. Wow.
Even the female officers come out whenever there's an incident. They're loaded up with the AR.
Yep.
You think that whole incident kind of twisted more of the of your gun rights in that state?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a blue state to begin with. They had at the time. Obviously, I wouldn't know now, but at the time, they had a strict quote unquote 5-day background check. Whereas now, just to get ammo, I think you have to get background checks.
Yeah, I don't even know the laws in California. I just know that they're very stringent when it comes to firearms and how you actually can transport them. And
How
those
you
types of
carry
stuff.
them, if you can carry
Yeah.
them.
Well, they just actually, it was in the news this weekend, and as of Friday, some judge, I don't know the exact judge, actually vetoed a bill that would require a 15-day background check for ammunition.
Jeez.
And now there isn't a requirement as of yet.
Yeah, nuts.
That is
Great,
insane.
crazy
You know what
story.
else happened? Columbine happened.
Oh
in
yeah,
the 90s.
Columbine. Yeah,
What?
yeah. Columbine happened in the
Yeah.
'90s too. That was the
Columbine
early
happened in the
'90s.
90s.
You're
I
gonna
think
make
I think
We
that
just
happened
celebrated
90.
420 is the anniversary date. So last week we just celebrated, I want to say, the 20th or 21st anniversary.
Yeah,
celebrate.
Oh, it's not celebrate. Recognized. Yeah, it's not a celebration.
Yeah.
but crazy story though, right? And how something like that changed. Oh, actually,
All that.
that happened in '99, late. So that happened after this.
What did?
Columbine.
Columbine.
Columbine happened April 20th, 1999.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's all. I know pop culture wasn't the definition of pop culture isn't this, but what we're doing and other people who are
But it totally is,
making
because
money off
if
of
you
it,
think
it's
about
going to
it,
be forever.
if you think about it, in the first season of American Horror Story, right? I was gonna say Chris Evans. It's not Chris Evans. Tyler Evans, the kid. Anyways, I'm sorry. Anyways, the kid who who ultimately ends up being a ghost goes to his high school, dressed with not camo, but with a skeleton face,
Yeah.
and starts shooting up the school.
Yeah.
And a lot of that TV show specifically, they pull from real life situations.
Where was this?
Yeah, that came from that. They followed that from Columbine. I remember that.
Yeah, the TV show American Horror Story. They every season they do different kind of plays on it.
Like
So
Twilight Zone?
I'd say it's better than Twilight Zone.
I mean, but it's like series where they have like
There's themes. There's theme.
episodes.
Yeah, every year is a standalone season.
Yeah, so like the
first one had to do with paranormal.
Yeah. The first one was paranormal.
Yeah.
Second
I think
one
they're on
was
season 9.
Yeah, the second one was an asylum. The third season was Covenant, right?
Witches.
The Witches. The fourth was the Freak Show.
Coven. Yeah.
Fifth, I can't remember what the fifth was.
Was the Missing Colony.
Roanoke. And then
Roanoke, 1300.
And then the one after that was Cults, and then the one after that was the Apocalypse and what the Apocalypse is. And now this past season was 1984 and how Billy
Idol. That one was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So it's that entire series is like a 10 episode series on one subject.
Yeah, kind of.
No, one subject for 10 episodes, but each year is a standalone. And it is kind of weird. And now they have aliens, and one series had aliens and Nazis that were interacting. I think that was the Asylum one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It's pretty weird. It's more like a nowadays Twilight Zone.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, but it's like each season is like a 10 or 12 episode season, but they're all standalone. They don't go into the next.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show. If
no, they did Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, he's in
serial
the
killer.
the 19,
That was one of them
1984. Oh, Hotel. That's what it was. Hotel. They have all the other
Hotel.
serial killers.
Hotel with Lady Gaga.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think that was a
Right.
pretty good and interesting little topic. Thank you guys for being on,
Well, like I
on the
said,
show
that
again.
whole
in that topic
that
alone,
whole
you realize that
decade.
there's people in like my girls probably don't even know anything about that. Like there's so many things like
They
the stuff
don't.
that you guys just mentioned. So
no.
many different things that were mentioned about that. It's they don't know. I'm sure they don't know about the Rodney King beating. They don't know about.
I guarantee you, Javen doesn't know half the stuff that we just talked about. I will put money on it that Joaquin,
No.
who's 5 years younger than I am, doesn't know anything, most of the stuff that we just talked about.
That's insane to think.
That's
like
by
the
choice.
Generation. Like those kinds of memories, those types of
Yeah,
things
no, a lot.
gets lost in the archives of your head.
It is. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be now that we have access to the internet, and there's so many blogs and reporters and journalists. It's gonna go on forever, man. It's gonna go on forever.
And we will keep talking about it, or at least
Yeah,
I
you
will
gotta
keep
check
talking
out some
about
of
it for
those other
sure.
things that happen. Yeah.
Thank
out.
you.
You know, it's a sad. One of the saddest ones is check out Ruby Ridge. You get a chance,
Dude.
look into that.
I heard about that.
Don't get me started.
I'm gonna look into it.
Did you watch that?
I already
Izzy.
known. I already known about it just because I was trying to find out why Timmy McVeigh did what he did at the Oklahoma City bombing, and it was in retaliation to Ruby Ridge and what happened at Waco. So you know, take a look at.
I don't blame
at
him.
those two
They
things,
did.
and it does. There's some dirty going on, and you know there was some illegal, but at the same token, the overreaching of the government still to this day is still happening. Overreaching.
Well, they're probably listening to
Especially
this
at Ruby
conversation
Ridge.
right now.
That's fine. They can because they know they fuck up. But when that sorry ass tactical guy, that's what started the whole mess. He's the one who said that they were taking on heavy gunfire. He's the one who kind of screwed it up for that family. And this is later, but when they realized that when the FBI did their investigation and there was no gunfire anywhere in the area where the pinned down SWAT team or snipers, they knew that they screwed up. There was no heavy fire at that scene. Did you know that?
Yeah, they ended up awarding him $3-point-something million. So
I feel so bad.
The government had
when
to
they said
eat crow, dude.
A lot of crow. They should have gotten more for shooting that old lady with her baby in her hand. That's all. That when I this was after because I didn't know about Ruby Ridge until like way after. But when I heard that that's what happened, dude, that broke my heart.
Man,
Well, sorry to bring everybody down. It's the with the baby.
No, seriously, killed. I mean that whole decade has a lot of stuff that happened.
Yeah, a lot of crazy shit happens throughout the years, and it's only going to get crazier. I think that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But like I said, this was a really interesting and pretty cool topic, and thank you guys very much for being
of course,
a part of this. Izzy, as we mentioned in the last episode, you have your own little company. Where can people find you at? Do you have any social media, YouTube or anything like that?
You can take a look at. I don't have quite yet the YouTube page up yet, and I'm just starting this media company. You know, doing stuff around the local area, creating media for small to medium-sized businesses, mostly just to try to really shout out the businesses out there that are up and coming, that are going to be opening back up hopefully pretty soon, and kind of get the word out. So I'm out there trying to just to help them out and make a living for myself, some extra side money for myself, and doing what I love.
And as mentioned, you're from Arizona, so is that central? Is that southern, northern? Where can people find you at?
I'm out here in the West Valley of Arizona, in Avondale, Arizona. Yeah. So thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be out here and to be out here on your podcast, man. The second time around, I appreciate it. It was fun. It's very interesting. You got some interesting topics, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, hot damn, that was a crazy ass story. If you're still listening, thank you. Greatly appreciated. That was an awesome episode. Izzy, thank you so much for coming on here, man. I really greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. And the last episode, too. Both of these episodes were freaking awesome, man. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate the support and the reviews on Apple as well as Stitcher. It really means a lot. And in order for us to build up this community, so to speak, as far as the Botalks podcast goes, those reviews really do help. As of last week, I created a group on Facebook, so please be sure to check that out. That is the Botalks podcast Facebook group. You can post anything on there. If you want to hear a story or you heard something about a specific topic that you would like for me to talk about, let me know. If you yourself want to be a guest, post it on there. I can talk to you through direct messages and we can work something out. So please go join the Facebook group. That is how word will get around. And also please be sure to write reviews on Stitcher as well as Apple. Apple, from statistics, is how 70% of podcasts get well known or at least notarized. So please be sure to give us a 5-star review and subscribe to the podcast on Apple. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed researching this. I know it was I was 6 years old when this happened, so I barely heard about any of this stuff going on. But I didn't really fully understand it until I was clearly older. And man, this was a crazy research. It honestly reminded me of Grand Theft Auto, like legitimately. If you're a fan of Grand Theft Auto 5, there's a specific what's it called? There's a specific level or spot on the game where you do something very similar to this. So, and it's pretty interesting, and like I said, it was a very fun topic to actually research about. Thank you to the sponsor, Anchor, for making this podcast possible. If I didn't have a sponsor, honestly, I probably wouldn't be able to put out this podcast and just talking nonsense for everyone to be listening to. So, thank you, Anchor. Also, like I said before, thank you, Izzy, for being on the episode. I greatly appreciate it. You have no idea how special this is to me to have someone like you on here with no knowledge, or actually, I take that back. This one you did have knowledge on because you saw it while it happened live. Everyone listening, if you are on Instagram, which I'm sure 95% of the people that are listening to this are, please be sure to follow him on Instagram at IdeasMedia. That's Ideas_media on Instagram. Thank you to the other longtime supporters of the podcast. My dad and, best co-host that I can possibly have, Big Jim. Thank you so much. My mom, thank you. We definitely got to do another episode, by the way, of your story. I know there's a lot that wasn't told. So if you're still listening, there's more to come to talk about my mom. There's a lot. And of course, Elisa, my beautiful, most wonderful fiance, and also my top critic, who is not posting anything on Apple Podcasts, but she does let me know what to fix, what to tweak, and she's my I don't know. I can't think of an analogy, but she's there, pushing me forward and telling me to keep going and to fix little things here and there. So, doll, I love you. Thank you so much. Lastly, please be sure to follow me on Instagram at Botalks Podcast. That's BOTALKS Podcast on Instagram. Also, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Botalks Podcast. Video is coming soon. I'm working everything out that I can and trying to do some video editing software techniques through Zoom recording because of this whole pandemic. People have been stuck in their homes, so I've been trying to do more and more Zooms and recording them through there. So video coming soon, everybody. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later. Peace.